to where he wants us to eat and where he wants us to drink, and if he wants us to store up food, if he wants us to store up water. Because here we see that he's giving Elijah direction. Because see, God knew. See, Ahab was a sellout to his wife, and he never stood up to her. He never corrected her. He allowed her to bring in her heathen culture. She brings in her heathen culture, and she begins to run the household. She begins to run the ministry. She replaces the true prophets and worship of God with the worship and practices of Baal. She replaces them. And instead of him doing something about it, which he was the king, he allowed her to do it. And that's what this nation is doing, and things are in reverse, and we can't help but to receive the curse. Amen?
Amen.
But when you confront this, things get crazy. When you confront it. When you confront being the headship, being the father, being the head of things, when you confront it in the home, you confront it in the nation, then all hell breaks loose. And so God told him, you need to leave because you got Ahab very upset. He's going to try to kill you. So that's why he left, because he knew that Ahab would become angry and want to kill him. And he did. He searched and searched for him. Verse 5 says, so he went and did according unto the word of the Lord, for he went to dwell by the brook Cheram, that is before Jordan. And the ravens brought him bread and flesh in the morning, and bread and flesh in the evening, and he drank of the brook. Now, whenever we see that anything like bread comes down from heaven, it's a type of Christ. Because in the wilderness, he told them, I am the manna that came down from heaven. And, he taught them, look, I am your provider. I'm the one who's going to feed you. And he had to break them, because what were they doing in the desert? They tried to hoard up the manna. They tried to save it. He said, you do that, it's going to turn to worms. Let's think about this. Wait a minute. He says, cursed is the man that puts his trust in man, that puts it in his own flesh, in our own selves. So if I go outside of the will of God and start to hoard things for myself, motivated by fear, that water might just rot. Think about it. The food may rot. Think about it. How do we know that, people have all this stuff put away and they say, wait a minute, don't eat it. It's got salmonella. They do it all the time. It happened with the lettuce and stuff one time. They said there's something in it. So that's putting our trust in man and in the system. So we have to seek God to work. Lord, you show me where to eat. And whenever you see that it says the ravens, is basically saying that the answers are coming to him from heaven as to where he was going to eat and where he was going to drink. But see, Elijah was comfortable there. He was all by himself. He had great prayer sessions and time with God. He was drinking water from the brook. The ravens were bringing him meat. They were bringing him bread. Everything was fine, right? Verse 7, and it came to pass after a while that the brook dried up, because there had been no rain in the land. Because remember, Elijah said, there will be no more rain until my word. Verse 8, and the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, arise, get thee to Zarephath, which belongeth to Zidon, and dwell there. Behold, I have commanded a widow woman there to sustain thee. So he arose and went to Zarephath, and when he came to the gate of the city, behold, the widow woman was there gathering of sticks, and he called to her and said, fetch me, I pray thee, a little water in a vessel that I may drink. Let's pause just for a second. So he's comfortable, and a lot of times we get comfortable in our praise. We get comfortable in our worship. We get comfortable with our prayer life. We get so comfortable we abandon it. But God says, oh no you don't, because if I can't get you to pray, to worship, and to praise, then you become vulnerable to your enemy. And any good father that loves his children is going to do anything he can to protect them. So it says, it's time to move, buddy. He had to make the stream dry up. So, you and I, we're no different. We're going to put our faith in bottled water. He may just cause it to dry up and say, look, boil it. He told Elijah, they brought some gourds that were I never seen a real gourd until one day we were watching a program. It looks like a little melon, but if you eat that, it'll get you sick. They say that when the camels ate it, they will go round and round in circles and collapse because it's a poison. It's not real. And so somebody put it in the stew, and they tasted it. They said, hey, there's poison in this stew. And it was the only food for the day because they lived like the Old West. they all get together and make food. They're like, hey, there's no food. They'd probably been fasting and were starving. Elijah said, bring me some flour. He put flour in it and he said, there, go ahead and eat it. The Lord may tell you, put salt in the water, boil it. It's safe now. God, I'm going to drink this in faith because there's no water and you can't go without water. Your organs will shut down. Amen? We don't know what may happen. It could be in a few months it all dies out. It could be martial law too. Amen? God forbid. But, and they can use this to usher in the mark of the beast. God forbid. I hope it doesn't happen in our generations nor our children's. But it's possible. Amen? We need to talk about it. We need to put our faith in God, the living God, not in my hand, your hand, or somebody else's hand, but in His hand. This is where the rubber's meeting the road. This is real. It's unfolding. Ministries are closing down, and I wipe the handles and stuff with bleach out of respect because they're telling us to do it. He says to obey the laws of the land, right? I'm gonna just not, last night somebody was pulling on the door, some tweaker, so out of respect for you guys, wipe the toilet, bleach, whatever, just out of respect and good common sense, not out of fear. My motive was, was in faith. I said, I'm gonna do this because it's the right thing to do. You know what I'm saying? So, verse 11. And as she was going to fetch it, he called to her and said, bring me, I pray thee, a morsel of bread in thine hand. Verse 12, and she said, as the Lord thy God liveth, I have not a cake, but an handful of meal in a barrel, and a little oil in a cruse. And behold, I am gathering 2 sticks, that I may go in and dress it for me and my son, that we may eat it and die. 13, and Elijah said unto her, fear not, go and do as thou hast said, but make me thereof a little cake first, and bring it unto me, and offer, and after make for thee and for thy son. See, God always requires for us to give first. We got to give first. We got to give our praise first. We got to give our worship first. We got to give our prayer first. Faith means stepping out. Amen? And so she had to go through the process. She had to give what she didn't have to give. It's not always money. It could be that she was in such a state she did not feel like praising. She was in such a state she did not feel like worshiping. She was in such a state she did not feel like praying. It's hard, trust me. We've been going through it. I was looking at